Welcome to my studio. It's so messy. Okay, so, here's a keyboard. It was a gift to me, and it's the cheesiest keyboard ever. Check out this alto sax. Oh, baby. All right. So I've got a balance board down here and this synth stand. This synth stand was actually the synth stand that I found at a Goodwill on the same day that I found a balance board and sort of connected the dots and said, wait a minute. These things could go together. So, I was giving a demo at KnobCon to Infinite Digits, and one of the things that I said to him in sort of an off-the-cuff discussion was, people don't use the biggest foot the way that I do. And he said, well, how do you use it? And I said, it can make anything Vangelis. Because the thing that made the CS80 amazing was its polyphonic aftertouch. Here, we don't have that, even though we do have velocity control. So I could hit harder and I could play a louder note, but I cannot expressively aftertouch these notes. It's just not a feature of this Radio Shack MD1160, but I do have a MIDI output. Hello, Leo. And I'm going to turn this into a Vangelis machine. So, how are we going to do that? Well, first thing, I'm going to use this nifty case, which happens to fit just like that. And, now we get to start putting modules. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the modules that are in here are pretty haphazard. I was working on a completely different demo that was kind of percussion based. So obviously we're going to take all of this out and make something that tries to achieve the goals that we have today. The nifty case is going to take MIDI out from this Radio Shack keyboard, and then it's going to come out of these CV1, CV2, Gate 1, and Gate 2. So we're only going to have two possible notes, polyphony, which is, it's okay, but we're just going to work within the constraints of the nifty case. Okay, that's all of the modules except a speaker pulled out. We're going to pick some modules that at least can provide us with two voices and the other necessary bits to get that sort of classic aftertouch vibe. There's the DPO. This is two voices, and we can definitely get two sine waves out of it. All right, well, there's a DPO in the rack. Hooray! But we're going to need some VCAs in order to control this with the biggest foot in an attenuated way, I think. Or at the very, 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 very least, it's nice to have a VCA that doubles as a mixer so that I can get the left and the right voice combined for a mono output. either this or the Nifty case, which actually does include a mixer. If I just send both voices directly to these two outputs, that will do the mixing for me, and then I'll get a mono output. But by putting it through a VCA, I can control the volume. So I'm going to use this Hex Mix VCA. I've had this unracked for a while. I kind of fell in love with the Mutable Instruments Veils 2, but this one's great. It comes as a kit. It's a bit complex to put together, but yeah, it's good. And I'm going to definitely, probably need the extra 2 VCAs. Plus, it's just easier to. It's quite easy to understand. The layout is good, so we're going to use this. All right, so DPO going into the VCA, going into the speaker, but there's one missing piece. The MIDI needs to be coming out of the keyboard and into the Nifty case. So let's go over to the shoe rack of cables. MIDI DIN. Here's just a regular old MIDI DIN cable. Out, in. Woo! We got MIDI, we got notes. That's great. That means I can take both of the outputs and I can send them off to the VCA and they will get mixed. Woo. And now I need some more patch cables so that I can send the CV and the gate, and I guess I'll need a couple of envelopes as well. Otherwise, I can't really play it like a piano. I also need to get all this stuff off the piano. So you can hear I've got a problem. I can only get CV from the first one, and I just had to read the Nifty case manual that this is set up to have the output of MIDI channel 1. This is set up to have the output of MIDI channel 2, but I only have one device. But thankfully, there's a workaround. If I send data over MIDI channel 3, it will automatically choose and do note stealing to get both of these outputs working. So we got to move this out of the way, and let's see here. We have this keyboard channel 01 and say 03. Lovely. Great. Now, what I don't seem to have are gates. I don't quite know what's happening, so I'm going to hook up some 9 volts cables to those. Oh. That does seem to be working. Let's try another one. I turn these all the way down. That's not right. Let me try a different VCA. That is what I want. You can see through the lights that the first gate is allowing the first voice to pass through. If I press a second note, it activates the second note. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know why this one's not working that way. Maybe I grossly misunderstood the Hex Mix VCA. That's disappointing. Maybe it doesn't play nice with these light up cables. Some things don't like them. But anyway, yeah. So that's a very, very basic keyboard setup now. And it's pales in comparison to even this Radio Shack MD 1160, where I can only play 2 notes and it doesn't feel very expressive at all. The notes are just on or off, right? So obviously we're going to plug in the biggest foot and make it a little bit more expressive. Plugged the biggest foot in and it's looking for Bluetooth. Let's get the board hooked up. I've got 4 fresh, really charged Ansman batteries. These are my favorite and most recommended brand of batteries. They're nickel metal batteries, and what we're going to do is plug all of these in and press the red sync button. We get a blue light that blinks and then turns steady, which means that we have successfully paired. And we'll slide it right here in front of the keyboard stand. When I stand on, I've calibrated and I can bring the sensitivity down. And we are in unipolar right now, which is probably, I don't know, we might change it later, but let's just start with, instead of gate, I'm going to plug into the top. Ooh, that's hot. Let's turn the sensitivity down. Plug into the top. So now I'm just leaning to play that note. And let's do voice 1 on the front left and voice 2 on the front right. You can see on the mixer the beating between the 2 voices and how they're slightly out of sync. And you can also see it on the DPO. This is one of the features of the DPO. So you can get your oscillators in tune with each other. The slower the pulse, the more in tune they are. All right, now I can swell by leaning. So this is getting a bit hot because these outputs in unipolar are 10 volt. So I think I need to attenuate these to about halfway, so it's closer to a 5 volt range. And then I can put the sensitivity at a normal amount. and it wouldn't be Vangelis without reverb. So there's a blank spot in there for one of my favorite multi-effects, the Chaos Timizora. So let's plug that in, and then we'll have a finished expressive pad. Here's another one where I've got the keyboard actually turned up a little bit. And the output from both of these speakers, this one's crusting up the sound a bit, and this one's making sort of a vowel sound in addition to the reverb. So that wasn't an envelope, that was just me leaning into the second part of the chord. So I can dynamically do that, and just by choice, by bending my knees.